The wind howled like a lonely wolf outside the small cabin on the edge of Maplewood Ridge, a quiet town nestled deep in Ontario's sleepy countryside. The stars were hidden behind a blanket of thick, snow-charged clouds. Somewhere beyond the tree line, an owl called out into the night, its voice carried by the chill like a whisper of warning. Inside, Liam Hayes stirred on the worn couch, his hand instinctively reaching toward the baby monitor before fully waking. The glow from the fireplace flickered gently across the living room walls, illuminating scattered toys, a pile of children's books, and a half-eaten bag of trail mix on the coffee table. He was a single dad, 35, tired, a little broken around the edges, but good. Solid. Doing his best since the accident 2 years ago, stole the love of his life, and left him with the greatest gift he'd ever known, his daughter.
Allie.
It was 2:03 a.m. when the knock came, sharp, hollow, urgent. Liam blinked, sat up and listened. Another knock, then silence. Not the kind of silence you get when nothing is there, the charged silence that felt thick, filled with something waiting just beyond the door. He rose cautiously, pulling the flannel tighter around his shoulders. Ellie was asleep upstairs. His world, tiny, beautiful, and innocent, rested beneath pink unicorn sheets. The last thing he wanted was to wake her. As he reached the door, he instinctively grabbed the bat from behind the coat rack, an old habit, born from fatherhood and the need to protect. Then he opened it. She was standing barefoot in the snow. A woman? No. A girl, really. Maybe in her 20s, shivering so hard her teeth were chattering. Her hair clung to her face, damp from the snow, or maybe tears, and she was wrapped in nothing but a light dress and a battered hoodie, far too thin for the storm raging outside. And she was beautiful, not the airbrushed, screen-ready kind of beautiful. Raw, real, the kind of beauty that lingered in the eyes and in the shape of her pain. But it was her voice that froze Liam in place. "You feel familiar?" she said. Liam blinked, lowering the bat slowly. "What?" I know it sounds strange." She stammered, looking past him like she was trying to place a dream. "But you do. I don't know how. You feel like someone I used to know." The wind rushed past them, carrying the scent of pine and something else, something old, like memory. Liam stepped back. "Come inside," he said. She hesitated, like she'd forgotten how to trust herself. But the cold made the decision for her. She stepped over the threshold, and he shut the door. Quickly behind her, she was soaked, shaking. He guided her toward the couch and grabbed a blanket from the basket by the fireplace. "What's your name?" he asked, wrapping it around her gently. She hesitated. "I don't know. You don't? I think I hit my head, or something happened. It's all a blur. I just remember walking, then seeing this light through the trees." Liam knelt down, searching her eyes. He was no doctor, but there was no blood, no visible injury. "Okay," he said gently. "Okay, you're safe now." And for a moment, she seemed to believe him. That night unfolded slowly, like pages turning in a story neither of them had read before. Gave her a pair of Ellie's old sweatpants and a hoodie that once belonged to Claire, his late wife. She clutched it tightly, as if the warmth of another woman's love still lived in its fibers. He made her tea. She sipped it in small, unsure sips, as though every kindness was foreign. They spoke in fragments. Her memories were fractured, names, places, her own face in a mirror, all gone. But Liam didn't press. He just listened. Offered safety. That's what good men do when the world has been cruel to someone. Hours passed. Outside, the storm let up, but inside, a strange comfort bloomed. Familiarity, yes, but something more. Around 5 a.m., Ellie cried out upstairs, jolted by a dream or a chill. Liam moved instantly, murmuring reassurances as he went to soothe her. When he came back down, the woman was asleep on the couch, curled like a child. And for the first time in years, something shifted in Liam's chest. A flicker of warmth that had nothing to do with the fire. The next few days blurred between reality and wonder. He reported her to the local authorities, of course. Missing person alert was posted, but no one came forward. No one knew her. No reports matched her face. It was like she had appeared from thin air. Still, he let her stay. She helped with Ellie gently, naturally, like she was born for it. Ellie adored her, calling her Star, because in her words, she looks like one. Daddy. And strangely, Star responded to the name like it belonged to her all along. They fell into a rhythm: morning pancakes, afternoon sled rides, talks by the fire. Liam tried not to feel it, the pull, the deepening attachment. But every time she smiled at Ellie or looked at him with that quiet searching in her eyes, he felt something returning to life inside him. Then came the night. Of the power outage, the snow came heavier than expected. The wind knocked out the grid. With Ellie asleep upstairs and the fire burning low, Liam found himself sitting across from Star in candlelight, the room golden with shadow and silence. "You ever wonder," she said softly, "why some people? We just feel like home?" He nodded. "I do." "I think I loved you," she said suddenly. He blinked. "What? In another life? Or maybe this one? Before I forgot." "I think I did, or do, or will." She shook her head, laughing softly. "That doesn't make sense, does it?" "No," Liam whispered. "But somehow it does." He sat there unmoving as the storm raged on. Outside, time was frozen, but inside that cabin, something was thawing. The snow had stopped falling, but the quiet it left behind was louder than ever. Liam stood on the porch in the stillness of dawn, holding a steaming mug of coffee in both hands. The world was blanketed in white, a fresh start, a clean slate. But inside his chest, the storm hadn't passed. It had merely changed direction. Behind him, the cabin was slowly waking. Ellie's laughter drifted from upstairs, high-pitched and full of life, while Star moved about the kitchen, humming a melody she didn't know the name of, yet somehow remembered by heart. It was soft, familiar, like something Claire used to hum while cooking, back when life was normal. Back when things made sense. It had been 6 days since Asta had shown up on his doorstep. 6 days of her presence weaving into their lives like thread into cloth seamlessly, delicately and possibly. And still, she remembered nothing about who she really was. No family, no address, no past, just instincts, intuition, the ability to comfort a scared child. To cook without a recipe, to soothe Liam's tired soul with just a look. And now this. Feeling this impossible sense that they were connected somehow, that she was meant to be there. But Liam knew better than to believe in fate. Fate had taken Claire from him. Fate didn't owe him anything. Still, when she looked at him, really looked at him, felt like maybe, just maybe, fate was trying to make amends. That morning, after breakfast, something shifted. Ellie was playing in the snow just outside. Her tiny form bundled up like a marshmallow, giggling as she built lopsided snowmen. Star sat across from Liam at the kitchen table, her eyes fixed on a photograph in a dusty frame. It was Claire, smiling, alive, holding baby Ellie in the hospital. Her hair pulled back and eyes glowing with the quiet triumph of motherhood. Star didn't say anything. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the frame. Liam watched, holding his breath. "Is this," she whispered, "your wife?" He nodded slowly. "She's beautiful," Star said, her voice cracking. Then she blinked hard, as if trying to push something out of her mind. "I've seen her before." Liam's stomach dropped. "Where?" "I don't know," she murmured. "In a dream? A memory? It doesn't make sense, but it did. Somehow it did. That evening, something even stranger happened. Star was folding laundry when she suddenly gasped, dropping a small pair of Ellie's mittens. "I remember," she whispered, grabbing the edge of the table to steady herself. Liam turned toward her, heart hammering. "What? Remember? The car? The crash?" "I was driving. Rain. Headlights screaming." He froze. "What crash?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I saw her, Claire. She was there. She was trying to save Ellie." Liam's entire body went cold. He hadn't told her any details about the accident. Not about the rain. Not about the SUV that ran the red light. Not about how Claire had swerved to shield Ellie. taking the brunt of the impact. Not about how she died at the scene, and Ellie had somehow survived with only a scratch. Star shook her head violently. I don't understand. I wasn't in the crash. But I remember it. I remember her face. I remember... And then the words left her in a breath. She asked me to find you. Liam stood. What, Claire? I saw her. After... I think I died, or almost died. I don't know how. But I was somewhere. Not heaven exactly. More like in between, waiting. He stared, stunned. Afraid to speak, she was holding Ellie. Or, a memory of Ellie. She said, please. Help him, he's drowning. And then I woke up, in the woods, cold, confused. Drawn here. Star's voice cracked again. I didn't know where I was. But I knew I had to knock. I knew I had to get to you. The room was spinning. Liam tried to speak, to find words, but there were none, because somewhere deep inside, he believed her, not because it made sense, because it felt like truth. Later that night, after Ellie fell asleep, they sat by the fire again, this time in silence. Star's eyes were on the flames. Liam's were on her. I used to believe in logic, he said finally. Things you can see, measure, control. And now, she asked quietly. Now, he whispered, I believe in second chances. Star looked at him, her eyes shining. I don't know who I was before, she said, but I know who I am here. I know that Ellie makes me feel alive. That you make me feel like I matter. And I know Claire gave me something I can never repay. Liam reached out, gently touching her hand. She gave me you, said. And for the first time, she smiled without sadness. Weeks passed, snow melted. Spring pushed against the edges of winter, stubborn and warm. No one ever came forward to claim Star. Authorities turned up nothing, but by then, it didn't matter. She'd chosen to stay with them, the little girl who now called her Mama Star without a trace of hesitation. And with the man who learned that some things don't need to be understood to be real, some love stories don't start with a first glance, they begin with a second chance. And sometimes, the people we've lost find their way back to us. In forms we least expect.